Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning. 15 minutes to change our lives. Kuntres, second parak in maamer of Daled. Finishing up. Okay, we're going to start by giving tzedakah because Gedol tzedakah shmekares zagulo, and we're going to be focusing on Lidor ben Batel. Mitzvah Hashem. He should be healthy and safe and should come back. And everyone should be safe. The yidden Eretz Yisroel and the soldiers and the yidden, the Klal Yisroel should have enough of this golus of Gula. Take of miyad mamish. Okay. Parak base. Okay. Hine. Now, so basically what we're going to talk about today is about that is reminding ourselves that who's in charge. And this is an unfortunate mistake that a lot of us do. And this is golus, that we give credit to the mailman that gives us the mail, but it's, of course, you're just delivering the mail. It's not coming from anywhere else. And this is what we're going to discuss. So everything we've explained, it's understood very well. The main thing is the godliness. And the mazalis and the constellations and all these tzimtzum that happen, they're just shluchim to the hashpah. Meaning, there's the elikus that we've davened for, that we connect to, we want to be drawn down. That's really the main thing. There's only these mazalis that sort of condense it to be able to come to us. But we shouldn't. But the mazalis aren't giving it to us. They're just making it capable that we can receive what Elikus wants to give us. By themselves, they have no mamash, no real existence. Therefore, the Sawana gives them credit. Oisam ledavar ikari, this that we make them into something that's an ikar. It's a main thing. We're giving them too much of the credit. Bashpa shehein heima mashpiyim mitzaratzon. They're giving the hashpa. Harizuk pirach manolsan bashkacha selikus. This is negating Hashem's intervention. Ubahashpa sachayus mitzvah and negating the fact that it's coming from Hashem. That's what it's doing. And we're giving the mazalos to be the mashpia. And that's why we're bowing down to them. Literal avodah zara. Meaning avodah zara is not this mistaken idea that like there's some idols in India and there's what's it called? There's little Buddhas and people give stuff to them and things like that. That's not avodah zara. That's also avodah zara. But now that we live in America or wherever we live, we don't have those things. So what's avodah zara? Is avodah zara not applied to us? This whole concept? It's over 50 mitzvahs. So the avodah zara is meaning, in essence, what's avodah zara? It's going to come up in Rambam very soon. What's the essence of avodah zara? Is giving credit to something other than Hashem. Avodah zara could be to your boss. Avodah zara could be the world around you. Whatever it is. That's what we're saying here. Is the mazalis, which is all spiritual things. They're not non-spiritual. Like, we're not even talking about physical abbas. We're talking about the spiritual hashpah, like coming from the Eibishter, that's coming from a lakus, and has to go through a tzimtzum. We're giving the chshivas to the tzimtzum. We're saying, thank you, tzimtzum, for giving me the hashpah. And it's a very fine mistake we're making, because we need the tzimtzum for us to get the hashpah. A lakus wants to give, and it needs a tzimtzum. Teacher wants to teach and give you all this good information, but it has to mitzamtzim it to see where you're holding to what we can give you. But if we think that the tzimtzum that the teacher is doing is the hashpah, then we're making a mistake. And ultimately, this is avodah zara mamish. So why is this such a bad thing? Why is this avodah zara mamish? Hu mipnei shamazalos heim bechinos levush sak. They're this like coarse sackcloth. Shemasterim and ma'od ala erliki. They conceal the light. She'enu meyu begilu klal. That doesn't reveal itself at all. Umislabesh al yidei hashpa b'levush hateva, and it's included through the hashpa into nature. Mishum zeh yesh lahem makom ledamush hashpa hi mei hamazalos, and that's why we're able to look at it and seem to us that this is coming from these mazalis. Because if the light wasn't so concealed, this is the dichotomy of life. If it was revealed more so that it was all coming from Hashem, that it was revealed more and it wasn't as concealed, we'd all know clearly it's coming from Hashem. So why don't we do it that way? Because therefore, we make the mistake thinking, because of all these concealments, so we think that's coming from there. My boss is giving me the paycheck. It's all coming from him. I have to be nice to my boss. I have to be nice to whatever, the donor. I'm not saying you shouldn't be nice to them. Of course you should be nice to them. But it's not them that's giving you the paycheck. They're the shliach of the Eibishter. Hashem is giving it to you. And this is the mistake. This is the challenge. You have to recognize, do all the right things and treat your boss nicely and speak to whatever, the donor or the customer, to be really good, to have a good experience. A person that comes to you to deal with you, whatever form, has to have a good experience. But we have to remind ourselves, it's not because of that good experience that they're going to give you more or less. It's because Hashem is giving you. And they're just the lavush, sak, this coarse garment that conceals it. And the reason why it conceals it is because if we wouldn't conceal more, we would know obviously it's from God. Why? Amnam b'shvil hanhagas ha'ilam kefir etzaynu yizbarach. But being that Hashem wants to do it in a specific way, sheyeh gashmi, that we should be physical. And the creation should be in a way of concealment of the Bari, Hanivra, that the Creator will be concealed from the Created, that we won't see Hashem, the one in charge. His labshus anal, it had to be this type of enclothement. In order that this itself, the chesed, should be included in physicality. And be according to the creations. Because if it was revealed, if we would see clearly where the life force is coming from, where our hashpah is coming from, and now they wouldn't be concealed with these concealments. The hashpah, what we would get, would coming from above nature. We wouldn't be able to receive it properly. We're not able to receive good that's not commensurate to our level. That's why you have to have these enclothements. Later we have to know this is the higher chesed that is said to us from Hashem, Davka. Who Asher Nislavi Bilvush Manal Asher Ze Atzmu Hu Mechesed Hashem Elyon. And therefore, even the fact that it's concealed is the kindness of Hashem. But Hashem has a lot to give, he wants to give. But he's kind enough to recognize that as much as he wants to give, we can only receive so much. So he conceals it enough so we go and get overwhelmed. Just simple to answer the question, why does it do it this way? Simply, it's because Hashem wants us to have a bechir chavshis, free choice. Because if we would recognize in a very obvious way that we could see it very simply, without having to learn anything, and just look and you see that it comes from Hashem, then we would lose the trace. The whole specialness of us. This is the challenge of life. I had a whole story of my kids reading this beautiful new book. I think it's called like 50 Amazing Stories for Kids, from kids. And so the story basically is Reb Levi Yitzchak Berditchev had this beautiful Pesach Seder with all the chumras and all the farangans and all the dvaiteras and all the deepest levels he could have reached. And he reached his highest level. And then he looked at Lamaila and he found that his wasn't the best Seder that there was. And he's like, mine was the best Seder? Like, who could have done better than me? My Seder was the best, easily. And it wasn't trying to be, of course, like Yeshizdik or something. He was so like, and he was tapped into Kedusha, and he appreciated how great his Seder was. And they said, Reb Moshe, the water carrier had a better Pesach Seder. So Moshe, the water carrier is a simple guy. He goes, I know who Moshe, the water carrier is. He's known. The Gila is nothing special. And I'm sure he didn't give any pirushim, he didn't do all these things that I did. So what's going on with them? All long story. So he calls it the next day, he goes to Shamash to go get Rav Moshe. Rav Moshe comes to him and says, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I'm embarrassed to even tell you about my Pesach Seder. He's like, no, don't worry, you're fine, you're good, you're good. Like, tell me what happened. I'm trying to understand this story. So he explains to him that he has a big issue, he's an orphan, so he has a drinking problem. But Pesach is coming, and his mashka is chametz, so what's he going to do? He didn't know what to do. He decided he's going to drink just right until the time you can have chametz, and he's going to drink for 8 days on one day, and hopefully that'll let him last to go. And he feels really bad. He knows there's a problem in it, but he just, he didn't have an AA meeting to go to. So end up, that's what he does, and he gets smashed. I don't know how to say that. He gets totally drunk, and then he putzes and he falls asleep. He's out. Comes the Seder night, and he's asleep. The Seder starts, his wife and his kids. His wife comes to wake him up. No, the kids, the Seder. He's too gone. He can't hold up. He got nothing. And every hour she comes, and she's poor lady sitting there once waiting for her husband to lead the Pesach Seder, and he's just gone. He doesn't. And every hour he just can't. Finally, after like hours, it's like it's about to be the end of the night. He finally manages to wake up. Yeah, he was wasted. He was totaled, whatever you want to call it. Basically, so he gets up. And he hit from his wife's crying, and he finally he's sober enough to realize what's going on, and he feels so bad. And he gets up and he goes, kids, I'm really, really sorry. Like, I failed you. Pesach is meant to be an amazing thing. But I can't keep on talking about this now. We got to do a Pesach sale. Let's go. And so he just starts telling them the whole story. He does his own version. He's like, we had Adam, and he was in Gan Eden, and he did Naveros. And then we had Noach, and then there was the flood, and he goes through this thing as quickly as he can. Then we were slaves in Egypt because of all Averis, and Hashem took us out. And today Hashem took us out, and He's taking us out again today. And he gets the whole thing, and he goes, let's go. And then he goes and he washes the matzah, the maror, and he rush it through. And so afterwards, Rav Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, he was very impressed, and he was blown away. And he said, halavai, maybe one day I'll reach such a Pesach Seder like yours. So the question is, why? What's so great about his? He was drunk, and he managed to rush through it in 20 minutes. And this is sort of the point, because his level, Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, was perfect, but his perfection was his chisaron, was his lacking. He can never do it anything. There's no specialness what he does. And this is sort of the point of the concealment. The concealment brings out a revelation deeper than anything that can be just without the concealment. And this is why the godliness is concealed. Because if the godliness is revealed and we see it obvious, we can be as Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev, but essentially we become like malachim. We don't have real choice. The beauty of this world, and this is the challenge of the world, is the free choice that we have, which means we have total free choice to be able to do the wrong thing. Like the story of this guy. And he was doing the wrong thing, but he also had the choice to make up for it. And he did. And this is what we're saying. And this is what we're showing. But ultimately, the challenge is with that free choice is to be able to recognize the truth and not get caught up and not fall for the Avodah Zarah. Yeah. And we'll continue next class. Everyone should have an amazing Shabbos. We should recognize the specialness of our challenge and realize the challenge is there to make us great. And when we go through our challenge and we overcome it, we're reaching a level higher than Rabbi Levi Yitzchak Berditchev ever can reach. But he doesn't have this challenge. He doesn't really have real bechira, because it's very clear to him, very obvious to him. Now, not 100% obvious. I don't know how obvious it is, But it's in terms of us, it's very obvious. And he sees godliness and he understands the economy. He doesn't have any of these issues that we're talking about. Whereas we do. But that's our mila. Because when we overcome that issue and we remind ourselves that it's not coming from our boss, that really it's coming from Hashem. And he's just a mazalis. And when you think that and you realize that and you act on that, then you achieved exactly what you're here for. Like we said before, that everyone has their part in the world to achieve. All of us, we should be successful at it, and we should enjoy it on the way. Have a great day.